Chosen one, my child, my beloved, stop everything you are doing right now. Heaven is whispering your name with urgency, a stirring so deep it shakes every doorway between the spiritual realm and this world. What I am about to tell you is not meant for everyone who sees this message. Most will not understand why it appeared in front of them. But you, the fact that you are still here, still reading, still breathing through these words, is not a coincidence. It is a divine appointment. A message like this does not find ordinary souls. It finds those who have been positioned by heaven to receive it. Subscribe and turn on notifications so that every word prepared for this season of your life continues to reach you. Archangel Michael has been on a mission for the past several days with one single clear directive: to reach you before the window closes. A direct order came from the throne of grace. Tell the chosen one before the season of delay ends. That order led to this message. That order is why you are here right now. And I must tell you something that requires you to listen with your spirit, not just your eyes. Your angelic inheritance letter has already been written, sealed, and sent. The moment you opened this message, a light that had been waiting for years, years of silence, years of carrying weight that was never yours, years of watching others receive what you deserved, that light began moving toward your life. Not next week, not in the coming season, right now. As these words reach you, the movement has already begun. But there are only a few minutes left in this spiritual window. Archangel Michael has made this clear. When heaven opens a door of this magnitude, the invitation carries a sacred timestamp. Not to cause fear, my beloved, but to awaken you. Heaven does not beg. Heaven speaks once, twice, and then honors the choice you make with your attention. This is the message. This is the moment. Do not leave until the very end. Not because I am asking you, because heaven is. With every sentence you remain, something is opening. Every word you read brings you closer to what has always been yours. Type Amen if you feel in your spirit that this message was sent directly to you, that something in you already knew before you could explain it. Now, let us open the letter. My beloved, pay close attention. There is more in your angelic inheritance letter than just money or wealth or comfort. At the heart of this letter is something much stronger, something that has your name written on it in the language of heaven. A truth is being revealed to you now that has been held back, not by accident, but by divine timing, because heaven knew you needed to be spiritually ready to receive it fully. Let me ask you something quietly before I read what is written. Have you ever felt that something meant for you was given to someone else? That a door closed just before you reached it? Archangel Michael says, the inheritance letter is the return of everything you lost, everything fate delayed, everything blocked, withheld, spoken against in secret, held back until you were spiritually positioned to receive it fully. Not a portion. All of it, with interest from heaven. What is being poured into your spirit through this message is real. And when you give from a place of genuine recognition, you open the channel for it to flow back to you multiplied. Check the link in the description and the pinned comment when you feel ready. And we continue. The first truth written in your letter: your pain shaped your purpose. The angel wrote, and this line was underlined in the letter with what looked like living light. Every hard thing you went through was not random suffering. Every betrayal you survived. Every night you cried without knowing who was listening. None of it was meaningless. Heaven saw every tear. Not one was wasted. Each was a seed planted in ground prepared before you were born. What grew from that ground is the inheritance. Your pain was the qualification, not your perfection, your endurance. The second truth: something that belonged to you was tried to be stolen. Someone, intentionally or without fully understanding what they were doing, attempted to take the spiritual blessing designated for your life. They could not have it, but the attempt created a block. a heaviness that pressed against your natural direction and made everything harder than it should have been. You felt it. You knew something was off, even when you could not name it. But Archangel Michael stepped in. That is why you are reading this right now. The block has been broken. What was withheld is now being released in full. Type 444 if you know that your life has been covered and protected, even when you could not see who or what was standing guard over you. The third truth, and the most important one: it was not acceptable for your future to remain silent. Heaven had to act. Your destiny carries a design larger than your pain, larger than every doubt anyone has ever placed on your life. Heaven could not stand silent any longer. There is a hidden line in your inheritance letter. This portion does not become visible until the chosen soul is ready. You have reached that point. When it was discovered, Archangel Michael was in the room. What the hidden line says is this: they will rise in a way no one expects. This is not a wish. This is a verdict from the courts of heaven, an irrevocable declaration written in the spiritual record of your life. You are going to rise in a way that leaves everyone who doubted you without a single explanation that makes sense. Because what God does in your life from this point forward will defy every natural category they try to put it in. The fact that you are still reading after everything you have been through tells me everything about the kind of person you are. You are someone who stayed faithful when the silence felt like punishment. You are the kind of soul this ministry was built to reach. Now, let me show you what is being removed from your path. My child, what comes next in this letter moved me deeply when I first read it. Deeply enough that I had to stop and breathe before continuing, because this is the part that explains why everything has felt so heavy for so long, and why that heaviness is about to end. The angel wrote, "Many of the burdens you have been carrying were never yours to carry. Let that land, beloved." Read it again. Many of the problems you have been struggling under, many of the emotional and spiritual weights that have made your path feel impossibly steep, they were never assigned to you. They came from what other people placed on you, the duties, the expectations, the fears, the grief that were never meant to be your inheritance, but somehow ended up on your shoulders. You looked out for hearts that never looked out for yours. You held space for people who could not hold space for you. You carried the weight of others while quietly wondering why your own load never seemed to get lighter. Heaven saw all of it, every moment of it. Type 999 if you feel a cycle finally closing in your life, a season of carrying what was never yours, finally coming to its end. The next line in the letter hit harder than any other. The angel wrote, "Free them from the weight of things they were never meant to carry." This is an active order, not a future hope. As you read this, invisible weights are being lifted. Burdens of the spirit that have pressed down on your chest for longer than you can remember are being removed one by one. The emotional costs that you paid in relationships that took more than they gave. The spiritual heaviness that settled in during seasons of betrayal and loneliness. The silent grief of watching other people receive what you were told, or what you feared, was not coming for you. Heaven is lifting them now, in this moment, and there is more. The person who has been standing in the way of your inheritance is being removed from your path. The letter is clear about this. Someone in your life, someone who drained your energy, who made you doubt yourself, who led you in circles, who slowed down your ability to think clearly, to sense correctly, to move freely. That person will not walk with you into the next chapter. Heaven has issued a departure notice. The recovery season is ending. And when recovery ends, restoration begins. Not in pieces, not in slow steps all at once. Resources that were blocked start moving. Relationships that were drained start healing or completing. Respect, clarity, peace, and provision. All of it begins coming back. Every part of your life that was suppressed and held down begins rising simultaneously, because the force that was holding it down has been removed. My beloved, do you understand what this means? This is not just a spiritual blessing. This is a full reset, a divine reversal of everything that was engineered to keep you small, stuck, and uncertain of your own inheritance. This channel exists because there are souls who need to hear what heaven is saying in this season. If you have not yet subscribed, do it right now and turn on notifications. What is coming in this series will carry the specific guidance your spirit needs for the chapter you are now entering. My beloved child, something quiet but immensely powerful is moving in heaven on your behalf right now. A holy decision has been made in the courts of heaven, and it is the final word from God, not a temporary decree, not something that can be revisited or reversed by anything working against you. A final word, sealed, irreversible. You have been feeling in your spirit that a different kind of light is coming, that something is about to shift in a way that has no precedent in your recent experience. That feeling is not wishful thinking. It is not after dark. Heaven marked this day a long time ago with divine intent and authority. Today is that day. God did not whisper it. He did not suggest it. He declared it. And the moment these words reach your eyes, the spiritual world responds, because your life's divine countdown has reached 0. Archangel Michael spent the last several days on a single mission. Reach this soul before the window closes. Tell the chosen one that the season of delay is over. The silent weight they have been carrying in secret, the weight of unanswered prayer, of hopes deferred, of dignity quietly endured through situations that should have broken them. That weight is being transformed, not discarded, as if it never happened, but transformed, turned into a crown of victory that no one who looked at where you started could have predicted. Type 555 if you feel that your life is on the verge of a shift so significant that nothing in your experience so far has fully prepared you for what is coming. You have been feeling the force, my beloved, the resistance, the sense of pushing against something invisible. That was not your imagination. That was the pressure point of your miracle being born. When you feel a chill right now, when your heart beats faster as these words sink in, that is not anxiety. You went through storms that made no sense. You passed through seasons of silence that felt like punishment, only to discover afterward that those silences were actually holy ground, sacred preparation ground, where the most important parts of your next chapter were being built. Sometimes what felt like the end of something was a divine pause, a breath before heaven wrote the strongest part of your story. Today is the day every promise made in those quiet, hidden moments comes true. It will not feel ordinary. It will feel like doors that were closed before are opening in the same instant. It will feel like confusion is dissolving and clarity is arriving without effort. A page is turning in the book of your life, not because you finally got everything right, but because the author of that book has decided that this chapter is finished, and the next one begins now. You will know it is real, not from an announcement, but from confirmation. Sudden changes in how people treat you, signs that answer prayers you spoke into silence, a lightness in your spirit that tells you, without needing any external proof, that something has fundamentally shifted. This is where listening turns into receiving. My beloved, you are still here. You have read this far through the most significant message that heaven has prepared for this specific season of your life. And I want to pause and speak to you directly, not as a narrator, not in the language of prophecy, but from one person to another. This channel carries a weight of responsibility. Every message that goes out is prayed over, every word is measured. Every serving souls in the most vulnerable and significant moments of their spiritual journeys. Every act of generosity toward what is giving to you becomes a seed sown into the very soil of your own breakthrough. Heaven records every act of giving done in faith. Check the link in the description and the pinned comment when you feel ready, and we continue. Now let us come to the most sacred part of your inheritance letter. My child, my beloved, what I am about to read to you is the part of heaven that is rarely shown. When this final section of your inheritance letter was opened, the atmosphere changed. The air became warmer and softer, the way it does when someone who loves you deeply has quietly walked in. Archangel Michael went completely still, the way you become still in the presence of something holy and tender at the same time. A spirit had come forward, a soul who is no longer in this world, but who has never stopped loving you. This is how the letter begins here. There is a soul who cares deeply about you, and always will. Not past tense always, they still care about you in this moment, with a love that does not diminish with the ending of physical life. They have been closer than you have realized. You have felt them in moments you could not explain, the times when you felt unexpectedly safe when nothing around you was safe. The warmth that moved through you in a quiet moment you could not account for. Those vivid dreams that left feelings you carried for days. Those gut instincts that steered you in the right direction when you did not know why you were following them. And afterward, you understood that was them. The angel wrote, "They spoke your name last night." Someone in the spirit world said your name, not as memory, not as grief, but with love and urgency directed at heaven. God heard it. Heaven shook in response. That plea set everything in motion. This message, this moment, this inheritance. It arrived because someone who loves you would not stop asking on your behalf. Type 222 if you know that the feelings you have carried in secret, the sense of being seen, the sense of being loved from somewhere beyond, are real and not your imagination. The letter tells you why they spoke your name when they did. They saw you approaching a defining moment, a choice, a change, a crossroads, and they could see that you needed protection through it. They asked God directly, lead them, shield them, give them the discernment to see and the courage to move. They did not leave you. They simply changed how they stay. Their love operates from a different dimension now. Tell them they are not alone. Tell them I see them. Tell them I will guide them and protect them. Tell them the hard times did not destroy them. They woke them up. Tell them I am proud of how they made it through. They have no idea how strong they truly are. They held on more times than they know, when everything was trying to break them, and they did not break. Let them know I am with them. Let them know everything they lost was worth it. Something great is on its way. That was spoken over you by a soul who loves you across the boundary between this world and the next. You were right all along about those quiet moments when you sensed someone nearby. That was real. Leave a comment below and tell me what is one moment in your life when you felt the presence of someone who loved you, though no one was physically there. Share it here. This is a safe and sacred space for your story. And if you know someone who is walking through grief right now, someone who lost a person they loved and has been carrying that weight in silence, send this to them. They need to know they are not alone, and that the love never stopped, just changed. The letter then shifts in tone. Something darker is being addressed before the light fully breaks through. Someone near you carries intentions that were never meant for your good. Heaven has already seen it, the full picture, the motive behind the silence, the strategy behind the smile, the quiet plan that was set in motion before you ever noticed anything was wrong. You did not imagine it. You were not paranoid. Something in your spirit kept sending warnings. You were not sure how to trust. Trust it now, because what you sensed was real, and heaven has already moved in response. Archangel Michael was not dispatched as a reaction. He was dispatched as an answer. What your enemy set in motion as an attack, God turned into an acceleration. The door that was meant to close on you became the very door through which your abundance will now enter. Heaven does not just protect you from what was planned against you. Heaven uses what was planned against you to position you for something your enemy never anticipated. That is not luck. That is the sovereignty of a God who is always 3 moves ahead. A covering has been placed over you, not a temporary shield, but a permanent spiritual canopy. Woven from the prayers spoken over your life, the battles already fought on your behalf, and the promises that were sealed over you before you took your first breath. You are protected, you are seen. My beloved child, the letter continues, and what it says next is being declared with the full weight, full authority, and full voice of heaven behind every single word. The blessing that was stolen from you is being returned, not a diluted version of it, not a replacement that almost resembles what you lost, not a consolation prize dressed up to look like the real thing. The actual blessing, the original one, the one that had your name written on it in the language of heaven before anyone ever tried to take it from you. Type 888 if you are ready to receive not a portion, not a lesser version, but the full measure of everything that has been kept safe in heaven on your behalf. And it is not coming back the way it left. The time it spent in heaven's holding, waiting for your spirit to grow strong enough to carry it without being broken by it, did not diminish it. It multiplied it. Every layer of pain you walked through while it was being kept safe added to its weight in glory. Every door that closed before you could walk through it, every opportunity that slipped through your fingers before you were ready, every moment where you stretched out your hand and found nothing there. All of it was collected, all of it was catalogued, all of it is now being prepared for release. What was delayed is coming back quickly. What was taken is coming back better. What was whispered against you in private rooms, in low voices, in moments you were never meant to hear, is now being declared over you openly, out loud, in the courts of heaven, and in the movement of things that are already beginning to shift in your life. You are entering a season where everything fits together at once. Not one blessing followed by a setback that undoes it, not two steps forward, and then the invisible hand pulling you back to where you started, not the almost miracles, the ones that build and then dissolve in the last moment like smoke, not those anymore. That pattern is over. Heaven has closed the chapter on the cycle that kept you circling the same ground. Archangel Michael has witnessed your future, not as a possibility, not as a prayer waiting to be answered, but as something already written, already sealed, already set in motion. And what he saw was this: everything arriving at the same time, provision and purpose walking through the door together, relationships and recognition coming in the same season, your identity and your calling no longer at war with each other, no longer arriving separately in ways that leave you half fulfilled, but operating together in full alignment, the way they were always designed to. No more waiting for one chapter to end before the next one is allowed to begin. The next chapter is already written. You are not being prepared to walk into it. You are walking into it now, with every word you read. Someone you do not expect is already written into your inheritance. This is not symbolic language. Someone is coming, perhaps a person you have never met, who will appear in your life at what seems like an ordinary moment, but will carry the unmistakable weight of divine appointment. Perhaps someone you already know, someone in your peripheral vision, someone whose name you recognize but whose spiritual significance you have not yet seen. When this person speaks, something in you will stir, not because of what their words mean on the surface, but because of what happens beneath the surface. When those words reach you, something ancient in you will recognize something ancient in them. It will feel like remembering, not meeting, like a door being opened that was always supposed to be unlocked. Pay attention when that happens. Do not dismiss it because it seems too simple or too sudden. Heaven does not always send messengers wrapped in fire and light. Sometimes they arrive quietly in the middle of an ordinary afternoon, carrying a sentence that changes everything. Type 111 if you believe that what is coming for you has already been written, that the divine appointments, the open doors, and the overflow are already on their way, and nothing can stop them now. The veil between you and your own discernment is thinning. In the days ahead, your intuition will sharpen in ways that may surprise you. You will know the truth of a situation before the evidence arrives. What has been clouded will begin to resolve, not slowly, not in fragments, but into a clarity so complete and so obvious that you will wonder how you ever lived in the fog. You passed the test that was never announced. Heaven watched the moments no one else saw, the times when retaliation would have been justified, and you chose peace instead. The times when your anger was completely earned, and you chose to heal instead of to wound. The times when walking away from everything you had been believing in would have been the most logical choice, and you chose to stay in faith instead. You did not pass those tests because they were easy. You passed them because something in you refused to become what had been done to you. And heaven saw that every single time, every quiet choice, every private act of grace that no audience witnessed, every moment you held your tongue, when you had every right to speak, every prayer you prayed for someone who did not deserve your intercession, that faithfulness was not lost. It was being recorded. It was building the case for exactly what is being released over your life right now. The reward is not coming because you were perfect. It is coming because you were proven. The inheritance waiting for you required a soul that could receive extraordinary blessing without being corrupted by it, without using it for vengeance, without letting it become pride, without losing the very character that qualified you to carry it. You carry it. You have always carried it. That is why now is the time. If you have been walking with this channel, you already know this is not ordinary content. It is prepared for souls in a specific season. Subscribe now and keep notifications on, so that every message sent for this next chapter finds you exactly when it is supposed to. And understand this: what you are receiving is not only for you. The anointing that is moving in your direction has the capacity to pass through you and into every life that is connected to yours, your children, your grandchildren, the people who will one day point to you as the reason they believe something different was possible for them. Your rise is not a solitary event. It is a generational shift. It breaks chains in your family line that have been there longer than you can trace, cycles that were supposed to repeat, patterns that were written into your story as inevitabilities. They are being broken, not bent broken, and what replaces them is a new inheritance, a new beginning. Not just for you, not just for now, but for every soul that carries your blood and every life your story will one day touch. The inheritance letter ends with this declaration: your name is being written in a divine record, not a metaphor, a spiritual register, an actual accounting kept in heaven of the souls who were chosen to carry the next generation forward. Heaven is not just blessing you. Heaven is blessing your family line through you. What you are receiving is not simply your portion. It is a legacy. It was always meant to outlive you. My beloved, you have arrived at the most sacred section of this message. The fact that you are still here, that you read every word, that you did not leave when it got long, or when it asked something of you, that means something. Most people stop before the revelation fully lands. They come close and then pull back. Not because they don't believe, but because belief feels dangerous when you have been disappointed before. You did not pull back. You are still here, and that tells heaven something very specific about who you are, about the quality of your faith, and about the kind of soul that has been chosen to carry what is now being released. Now, let me show you what is coming, and let me speak to you honestly one last time, not as the voice of a letter, but as a person who understands what it costs to stay faithful when the silence stretches long and the evidence is thin. Type yes if you are ready, truly ready to step forward and live as though the inheritance is already in your hands, as though the letter has been delivered and the blessing has already arrived. Now let us receive the final blessing together. My child, my beloved, this is the last thing the letter will say to you today, though what it has begun in you is only just getting started. A door to provision is opening. The specific, stubborn delay that has been sitting on your finances, on your resources, on the steady flow of what you need to build the life you were designed for. It is being broken, not pushed back, not delayed again. Broken by alignment, divine alignment. The kind that does not require you to figure out the path before you walk it. The kind that moves things into position while you are still in the middle of not knowing. You are being placed into a current that you could not have manufactured on your own. A flow of favor and resource and open doors that operates outside the normal logic of how things work in the natural world. What is coming will arrive from places you did not plan for, from people you did not see coming, by means that will defy every ordinary explanation you would have thought to offer. And when it lands, you will recognize it, because you were here, because you read the letter, because somewhere in your spirit you will remember that this was promised, and you will know without any doubt that this was not a coincidence. It was a delivery. It had your name on it, and heaven made sure it reached you. The person who did not believe in you will see your rise, not as punishment, never as punishment, but as testimony. Undeniable, irrefutable, impossible to explain away testimony to the faithfulness of a God who never once forgot the name of a soul who kept trusting him when there was no visible reason left to do so. Your story is becoming evidence, not just for your own sake, but for every person who will one day see what God has done in your life and decide, because of it, to hold on a little longer in their own. You did not stumble onto this message. You did not find this by accident, by algorithm, by the randomness of a Tuesday afternoon with nothing else to do. This was a direct communication sealed with the full authority of Archangel Michael, delivered to you at the exact moment your spirit had finally grown ready to receive it. And not just receive it, but carry it. The season you are entering does not require your perfection. It has never required your perfection. It requires your presence, your willingness to remain, your decision made again today, to move forward as though the inheritance is already in your hands, to live as though the letter has already been fulfilled, to walk as though the blessing has already arrived, because it has. The letter was already written long before you needed it. The blessing was already prepared long before you could see where it was coming from. The soul who loves you already stood before heaven and spoke your name out loud, and God already answered. The answer was yes. Then it is still yes now. It will always be yes for you. Honor this moment with action. 3 things: simple, powerful, non-negotiable. First, like this message, not for the metrics of a video, not for an algorithm that needs to be fed, but as a spiritual declaration, a deliberate, conscious act of agreement. When you press that like, you are saying to heaven, I was here, I received what was sent. I agree with every word that was spoken over me. Let that agreement become the activation signal for everything that was just released into your life. Faith without a corresponding action is a letter you read but never opened. Open it. Second, subscribe and turn on notifications right now. What is coming in this series carries the seasonal instructions, the divine strategies, the confirmations, and the specific guidance for the chapter you are now entering. Heaven did not go to all of this to send you one message and leave you without what comes next. This is not a conclusion. This is the beginning of an ongoing alignment, a continued conversation between your spirit and the voice of heaven. Subscribe so that nothing you need is missed, because none of what is coming will be accidental, and none of it will be early. It will arrive exactly on time, exactly when your spirit is positioned to receive it. Third, share this with 3 people who need a breakthrough. Do not overthink it. Do not spend time calculating whether they are ready or whether they will receive it. Your spirit already knows who. The names are already there. When you share a prophetic word from a place of genuine recognition, from a place where you know that what you received is real, You release an anointing into the life of the person receiving it. What you give away from this place does not leave you diminished. It returns to you multiplied, expanded, and accelerated. And one final thing, write in the comments, "I step into my inheritance," not as a response to a video, but as a response to heaven. Not as a hope still waiting to be confirmed, but as a statement of someone who has received the letter, believed it, and decided today is the day they begin to live like it is true. Because it is. Your wealth is no longer ahead of you. Your protection is not still being arranged. Your divine relationships, the ones that are supposed to find you, are not still circling. They have arrived. The letter was sealed. The angel delivered it. Archangel Michael stood guard over every word. A soul who loves you more than any language in either world can fully hold stood before the throne and made sure you would receive this. Type 1212. If you receive this as your declaration that the season of delay is over, the inheritance is yours, and you are walking into everything heaven prepared for you from the very beginning. Type Amen to seal every word of this letter into your life today. Type it as your agreement. The blessing has already been written. The angel has already delivered it, and you will no longer live as though it is still coming. It is already done.